I take duty very seriously. I take my responsibilities very seriously. But it's about finding your own way at the right time. And if you're not careful, duty can sort of weigh you down an awful lot at a very early age, and I think you've got to develop into the duty role.
In a palace built on centuries of tradition, one prince just made a decision that could shatter it all. Prince William has drawn a clear line, one that speaks louder than any royal statement. In a recent move, he reportedly revoked Queen Camilla's invite to a highly sacred event dedicated to honoring Princess Diana's memory. This wasn't just any ceremony. It was one tied to the legacy of his late mother, a woman whose life and death continue to shape the monarchy. The event was meant to reflect on Diana's contribution to the royal family and her humanitarian legacy, especially in the wake of the BBC scandal, where it was revealed that journalist Martin Bashir used deception to secure his explosive 1995 interview with her. William has long blamed that moment for fueling the media frenzy that plagued Diana until her tragic end. After a formal investigation confirmed the deceit, William called the interview a false narrative that contributed to his mother's isolation and suffering. So when Camilla's name came up for the guest list, William reportedly wasn't having it. Sources close to the palace suggest he felt her presence would dilute the emotional significance of the event. For him, this wasn't about royal unity, it was about his mother, and inviting the woman many still associate with the breakdown of Diana's marriage felt like a betrayal.
Well, there were three of us in this marriage, so it's a bit crowded.
Well, there were three of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded.
It all goes back to the 1995 Panorama interview, Princess Diana's most famous and controversial public appearance. The sit-down with journalist Martin Bashir made headlines around the world. Diana openly spoke about her failing marriage to Prince Charles, saying the now famous line, "There were three of us in this marriage." At the time, the interview seemed like a bold and raw moment of truth from a woman trapped inside the royal machine, but decades later, the truth about that interview came out, and it wasn't just emotional, it was deeply disturbing. In 2021, an independent investigation led by Lord Dyson found that Bashir had used deceitful methods to secure the interview. He forged bank statements to convince Diana that people close to her were being paid to spy on her. The report confirmed that Diana was manipulated into sitting down with Bashir, believing she couldn't trust anyone. Lord Dyson concluded that the BBC fell short of high standards of integrity and transparency. This wasn't just a media ethics issue, it was personal for Prince William. But when truth finally came out, it didn't bring peace, it reignited a fire. William didn't hold back. In a rare and powerful public statement, he called the interview a betrayal, not just of Diana's trust, but of the British public. He said it contributed to his mother's fear, paranoia, and isolation in the final years of her life, and most importantly, he made a vow to protect Diana's memory from those who had tried to exploit her. In his words, she was failed not just by a reporter, but by leaders at the BBC who looked the other way. He asked for the interview to never be aired again. For William, this wasn't just about setting the record straight, it was about finally drawing a line in defense of his mother's dignity. Each year, young people from across the globe are honored with the Diana Award, an initiative created to carry forward Princess Diana's legacy of kindness, compassion, and change. Founded in 1999, just 2 years after her death, the Diana Award isn't about glitz or royalty. It's about real people making a difference just like Diana did. The award celebrates young changemakers working in areas like mental health, anti-bullying, social justice, and humanitarian aid. It recognizes those who, like Diana, step outside the spotlight and serve people in need. For the recipients, it's more than an award. It's a validation of their work and a connection to a legacy they deeply respect.
I think just the qualities that are essential for somebody in a leadership role. I think it's important to grow into a particular role with the right characteristics and the right qualities.
Prince William takes this event personally. In 2024, he's not just a guest or a figurehead, he's deeply involved in the planning. Insiders say William has helped shape the award categories, chosen which youth stories are highlighted, and worked closely with organizers to ensure the event stays true to his mother's values. When he stands on that stage, it's more than a royal appearance. It's emotional. It's him stepping into Diana's shoes, not as a symbol, but as a son. He often meets with recipients privately, hearing their stories, offering support, and reinforcing that their work matters. He's made it clear that this event is not for political games, royal tensions, or media distractions. It's a sacred moment to reflect on what Diana stood for: compassion, justice, and a relentless drive to help the voiceless. For William, protecting that legacy means keeping it pure. That's why Camilla's presence, in his eyes, didn't belong there.
My family was the sovereign, and we, as a family, don't own this place. It doesn't belong. And it's not as if we're making money out of it. And this is what annoys me so much that's written in the media.
Some shadows don't fade with time, and for William, one in particular still lingered. To understand the weight behind William's recent decision, you have to go back to the triangle that once tore through the royal family: Diana, Charles, and Camilla. Princess Diana spoke openly about feeling betrayed. Her now famous line, "There were three of us in this marriage," painted a clear picture of the pain she endured. Charles and Camilla's relationship wasn't a secret for long, and Diana was left navigating the pressures of public life while carrying private heartbreak. For William, this wasn't just tabloid drama, it was his childhood. He lived it. He watched his mother, a global icon and deeply devoted mom, struggle through the most difficult chapters of her life while the world watched. And while the public eventually accepted Camilla's place beside King Charles, for William, the emotional landscape is far more complicated. Camilla has kept a low profile when it comes to events honoring Diana. She's attended some over the years, but always quietly, never at the forefront. Her presence was tolerated but never truly embraced when it came to Diana's legacy. And that's what makes this year different. This year, William drew the line. Royal protocols were followed until they weren't. Behind palace doors, the guest list for the 2024 Diana Awards was reviewed with care. And according to royal insiders, it was Prince William himself who personally went through the names line by line. When he saw Queen Camilla's name, he made a quiet but clear decision: she would not be attending. This wasn't about hostility or revenge. There was no dramatic fallout, no loud declarations. It was, in fact, the opposite: a calm, intentional choice made with the full weight of memory and meaning behind it. The Diana Awards are sacred to William. Every year, they shine a light on young people doing extraordinary humanitarian work, just like his mother once did. Her spirit lives on in those moments, and William treats that with the seriousness of someone who truly understands what it represents. Allowing Camilla to attend might have kept the surface calm, it might have satisfied tradition or spared whispers, but William wasn't concerned with optics. He was concerned with protecting something fragile and deeply personal: the emotional integrity of the event and the memory of the mother he's never stopped fighting for. In a family that thrives on protocol and appearances, this decision broke the mold. Not in an explosive way, but in a deeply human one. William didn't need to make a public statement. His decision spoke for itself. In that simple act of exclusion, he made his priorities known. This wasn't just another royal event. It was his mother's legacy, and he wasn't going to let anyone, even a queen, blur that focus. It's a moment that may go down quietly in history, but for those watching closely, it speaks volumes.
I don't think she believes too heavily in instruction. She believes in finding your own path, but with very good examples and guidance around you to support you.
The decision didn't come with a press release, but it didn't need one. As soon as Camilla's name was noticeably absent from the Diana Awards guest list, the media started asking questions. Royal commentators and palace insiders began to speculate: was this a calculated move by William? Was there quiet tension brewing between the future king and his stepmother? And more importantly, what did this say about the state of the royal household? The silence from Buckingham Palace spoke louder than any official statement. No clarifications were offered. No attempts were made to explain it away. That silence fueled whispers of strain, particularly between William and King Charles. For Charles, who spent years trying to ease Camilla into public acceptance and position her beside him as queen, this exclusion wasn't just personal, it was symbolic. Reports suggest the mood behind palace walls shifted after the decision. It wasn't confrontational, but it was cold. A line had been drawn, and not everyone agreed with it. Camilla, known for staying composed, reportedly kept her reaction quiet, though those close to her noticed the tension. And then there's Harry. Though estranged from many royal duties, even he would have understood the meaning behind William's move. Diana's memory is a sensitive point for both brothers. If anything, William's decision may have earned his silent respect. Despite their differences, Diana remains their shared bond, and honoring her without distractions may be one of the few values they still hold in common. This wasn't just a prince protecting a memory, it was a future king shaping his reign. William is stepping further into his role as heir, not just in duty but in purpose. And this decision shows how he plans to lead. Where past generations might have followed protocol, no matter the emotional cost, William is choosing a different path. One rooted in sincerity, not symbolism. By excluding Camilla from the Diana Awards, William didn't just take a stand for his mother, he redefined what royal leadership can look like. He's making space for honesty in a family long ruled by polished appearances. He's showing that even within centuries of tradition, personal truth still matters. He's not tearing down the monarchy, but he is reshaping it quietly, moment by moment. And that's the message that lingers far beyond this event. William's evolution isn't loud or rebellious, it's grounded in compassion. He's proving that being a royal doesn't mean detaching from emotion, it means choosing the right legacy to carry forward. As the lights dimmed on the ceremony, the true meaning of the evening came into focus. Young people, activists, caregivers, leaders stood tall, each one echoing the humanitarian work Diana championed. Their voices, their stories, their causes. This was her legacy in motion. In every choice he makes, Prince William sends a message, not just to the royal family, but to the world. Diana may be gone, but her son will never let her be forgotten. What's your take on this? Share your thoughts in the comments and subscribe for more videos.